You know that feeling, right? That little moment of confusion when you're talking to an AI and something just feels off. And it almost always starts with something super simple. So you ask a chatbot a simple question. You know exactly what you want, you phrased it perfectly clearly, you type it in, hit send, and you're just waiting for that quick solution.
And then bam, the response comes back. It's clean, it's confident, it looks totally right. And for a second, you're like, awesome, problem solved.
But then you read it again, and it sinks in. The answer, as good as it looks, solves the wrong problem. It's a perfect answer, just not to your question.
It's so frustrating, right? You start wondering, am I doing this wrong? Is this thing just broken? So really, why does this keep happening? Well, it turns out it's less about a simple mistake and more about a huge mismatch between how we think and how these systems actually, well, work.
Okay, so let's start with our side of things. It all begins with a totally reasonable request. Let's use a classic example we've all been through. Say you need to update your payment info on some website. So you go to the support bot and ask, can I change my card? Super simple, right? A direct question. And your goal here is crystal clear. You just want to update your billing info. The question is just how you get there. You're trying to do something, to take an action. But what you get back isn't a link to do that. It's an explanation. And this right here is where that disconnect really starts.
So look at this. On one side, there's your goal, update payment info, a simple task. On the other side, the AI's answer, instructions on how to design a brand new physical credit card. And here's the wild part. This isn't a random glitch or a hallucination. It's actually a perfectly correct, logical answer if you had asked a totally different question. So how on earth did it get there? Okay, to get this, we have to completely change how we think about the AI. It's not a conversation partner, it's more like a super fast sorting machine. You know, our gut tells us the system is trying to understand us, to get our goal, just like another person would. But that's not what it's built to do. Its number one job is actually much simpler. It's designed to classify your words. It takes what you type and tries to sort it into a few main categories, or what you might call intents. So bucket number one is informational. This is for when you're just looking for knowledge. Think of asking something like, how does two-factor authentication work? You just want an explanation. Then you've got bucket number two, navigational. This is when you know exactly where you want to go and you just need a shortcut. Like, take me to my order history. You're looking for a link, not a whole lesson. And finally, bucket three is transactional. This is when you're ready to actually do something, like renew my insurance policy. It's a signal that you're ready to start a task. All right, so let's bring this back to our original question. The system sees, can I change my card? And it zeroes in on the keywords change and card. And based on all the data it's been trained on, the system makes a guess. It decides that a question with change and card is probably a request for information about, say, designing a new card. So it slaps the informational label on it and gives you a perfect informational answer. You see, the problem wasn't the answer itself, it was that first crucial classification. So that begs the question, why on earth is it designed like this? Why would it prioritize sorting words over just understanding you? Well, the answer comes down to one word, scale. Think about it, these systems have to handle millions of requests, maybe even billions. So they're built for that. They're heavily optimized for being super efficient on the most common, straightforward tasks. Getting the nuance right on every single tricky or ambiguous question, that's just a way lower priority. It's not what they were built for. So this is a classic trade-off. What you gain with this classify-first approach is incredible speed and efficiency for a ton of users. But what you lose is that human-like nuance, that ability to really get the context. The system is literally built to sacrifice a deep understanding of your goal in exchange for a super fast classification of your words. And that right there is the key. This is why the whole thing feels so weird and frustrating. Our natural human intuition about conversation just doesn't apply here. It leads us down the completely wrong path. Look, we're basically running two totally different programs in our heads. We think, okay, I'll state my goal. And we expect the system to think, okay, I'll solve their problem. But that's not what's happening. The system is thinking, identify keywords and then match to a category. It's a sorting task, not a problem-solving task. So, when it comes right down to it, that strange feeling of getting an answer that's perfect but also completely wrong, it happens for a single clear reason. You expected a conversation, but the system provided a classification. It was never trying to chat with you. Its job was to sort. And once you see that fundamental difference, its behavior, even when it's frustrating, starts to make a whole lot more sense.